Hey everyone, welcome to a new video where I'll be showing you how to use FREECAM. Before we start, I want you to know that the official FREECAM page, which you'll find in the description, already explains quite a bit about how it works. Basically, if we go to the keybinds by hitting escape, going to options, then controls, then keybinds, and scrolling down, we'll see different settings. We have the FREECAM toggle setting, which enables or disables the camera. This is set to F4 by default. Then there's configure GUI, which basically opens the settings and screens, but this isn't set up yet. You can set it to whatever you want. I'm going to use enter, for example. Next, we have the reset tripod option. Set this to control plus enter if you prefer, control enter. And finally, we have the player control. I'm going to set this to control plus enter, control enter and delete. I'm trying to set it to backspace, but it won't let me. And finally, we have the player control button, which I've assigned to F. As you can see here, we have different explanations for movement and what we can do, such as flight mode, which by default will be static, and in creative mode, it will move at creative speed. I don't know if you're aware, but when you're in creative mode, the camera moves, it slows down gradually. We have options for collisions and so on. Let's open the menu. The options menu opens with enter, which is what I've set it to. And here we have the movement options as I've set them up. You want creative flight mode. I'll switch it to creative. Here's an explanation of what it does regarding collision. You want it to ignore transparent blocks? Yeah, this is to prevent you from colliding with blocks. You tell it to ignore all collisions, including mobs and anything else. This way you won't have any collisions. Then we have the visual options, where you can show the player and show I would leave this as default. Full brightness. I could set this to yes or no depending on what we're recording. Submersion fog, I would set this to no. This is basically for when you're underwater, so you can see the water's blurring effect, the water's mist. Disable on damage, I would set this to no. So it doesn't disable even if you take damage. Although if you're playing in survival mode, you might want to set it to yes, that depends on your preference. Then we have the option to freeze the player when we activate the camera. You can leave this as no. Allow interactions with other blocks or entities. This means that while you're using the camera, other entities can attack your camera. So obviously we don't want them. And then notifications, I would turn off all the notifications. We're going to hit save and quit. And you might ask, okay, great, but how does the rest work? I'm going to review the keybind. We have the reset tripod option, which obviously doesn't work because I don't have the camera activated. To activate the camera, you press F4 by default, which controls this camera. When we press F4, we'll have a camera that we can freely move around and explore. We can use it to record ourselves. If we want to hide the entire interface, we just press F1 and it's done. And if I press F8 now, I'll be able to move my character. In other words, the camera will stop moving and my player will start moving instead. Can you see that? It happens to me a bit, to be honest. If I press the reset tripod, I suppose it's useful when you want to create different perspectives. There you have it, player perspective, third person. We have various configurations, which is what I've been showing you. And there's not much else in terms of settings. To return to the player view, we simply press F4 and we're back. Let's go back to the main screen. That's all there is to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in future videos.